So I will be speaking today about data collection design for crowdfunding aggregator platform. So first of all, I will speak about what crowdfunding is and my motivation to study that, and the project outline, project of cooperation with the platform, and related work, and then about data itself, and then how I'm going to study this data. And then I would like to start from one example. This is a very successful crowdfunding campaign. The gaming company actually was looking for funding to develop a game. The game is named Star Citizen, and they actually gained around 200 million euro from 2 million of individual investors. And they did it through their website and also from crowdfunding platform Kickstarter. And then additionally, they were able to raise some private investments from for 46 million euro after this successful raise. So what is this? What's the crowdfunding is? This is a way of seeking funding for different projects using the online platform, and this money are collected from different investors who can be as private and institutional investors. And then there are 4 types of crowdfunding. 2 of them are community crowdfunding, which is donation and rewards when people receive no shares in return for investments. And I'm focused on investment crowdfunding, which is exchange of the when people receive shares or bonds in exchange of the investments. And then there are some research questions that we are going to study. There has been already many research done, but still it's not very clear how investors behave. There are not so many research done on the individual level because this data is not available freely. The companies are not sharing this information. So we are going to cluster investors into different groups and see how different groups actually behave, if there are differences in their investment decisions, and then what are the factors that affect these decisions to select between many opportunities. And also there is a practical implication for this research. There should be, we are planning a cooperation with the company, which is, in the end, they will receive models from us, so they will be able to implement artificial intelligence technology on their website, so that they will be able to provide better options for their clients, to recommend better investment opportunities that suit these investors more. And also they will recommend those crowdfunding rounds that have more potential to successfully raise funding. And also there might be some policy implications because as we can already discuss with the company, many investors actually do irrational decisions, and probably investors need some education. And this has been already discussion also on the European level, and the results can probably make some suggestions on how improve the knowledge of investors, and probably advise some materials on how to educate investors. And here I would like to speak about the project of cooperation with the company. So this is the Business Finland funded project. which was initiated by financial and investment provider Privanet Group. This is a Finnish company, and the idea was to provide investors all the European crowdfunding possibilities which are ongoing at the moment. So this is kind of a European level aggregator website. And the information will be provided in the native language so that the investor can be from any European country, and he will receive information in one website, and it will be in local language. And then at this particular moment, the filtering possibilities only provided by country, industry, or category of crowdfunding. But the idea of the project is to create a more interesting possibility to select the crowdfunding rounds. And then and this company will provide data that will be created during the operations of the platform, and the goal of the particular research of the particular presentation is that I'm going to present how we are planning to collect this data so that in the initial stage it will be collected correctly. This is how this website looks like right now. This is test version, so that the different crowdfunding campaigns will be located in the same place from different countries. And here I would like to discuss a little bit about the project outline. So we started from identifying objectives, which I already discussed. So that's some business goals and research objectives. And then the next step was to identify a domain, and some literature review has been done, and we found some already some interesting findings from that. And then the next step is data collection, which we are planning at the moment. And then based on this data, it will be used machine learning for development models, which will be then implemented into the crowdfunding aggregator website. So we are now in the planning phase. And here's a process of decision making in investments. Investors usually start from looking for opportunities, use various formal or informal sources of information, and at this stage, it's interesting to understand what factors actually affect their decision to select among huge amounts of investment opportunities, what actually catch their attention. And then when they pre-selected some particular interesting cases for them, then they have to make some decision criteria, a decision whether to invest or not. And then there are some decision criteria which affect what are the projects that this investor select. And that can be many. So they can be some rational criteria, or they can be also irrational. So that investor can be influenced by attention to the project, for example. But I will discuss this a little bit later. And limited attention actually do not allow investors to focus on entire information. So then they make some shortcut decisions. And then when decision is done, there are some attributes of investment decision, which I'm going to discuss later on. So this include project characteristics. These are measurable characteristics, actually. Project characteristic, risk and return level, amount of investment, and investment frequency. And then post-investment, which is outside of this particular study, but it's the next step is that investor is going to keep these investments or to sell it if it's possible, and whether he's going to invest again or not. Here I would like to discuss a literature review that we have done, so that the existing literature on crowdfunding I would divide into two parts. Like decision criteria of investors could be divided into rational decision criteria or irrational or intuitive decision criteria. So for the system 1, which is associated with speed and thoughtless decisions, there can be some hidden signals, like, for example, affective content and photo influence. There can be influence of context, for example, behavior of other people, or if company is using social capital actively, then probably some attention can create some desire to invest. It can be irrational, and that's the point where we are going to measure if additional attention can create risk-taking behavior for investors. And then there can be some personal, individual factors that can affect decisions. So that can be, for example, personality, and then motivation, or can be some demographic factors, for example, gender or age can affect investment decision. And then from the other side, there are some clearly measurable logic decision criteria, which are used by business angels, by venture funds, and these are like product and market evaluation, so that existing of product development, so that the product is already developed, it's not like a prototype yet, they have clients, and entrepreneur has quite good intellectual and human capital, meaning that the team is educated and experienced, and then financials are provided, and the forecasts are very good, and they have already designed exit strategy for crowdfunding. And then in the end, I would like to say that based on this literature review, that decision is affected by many factors. So people perceive information differently, and some people make, even business angels actually, there is a research done that even business angels do not take into account all the rational factors when they make decisions. And in crowdfunding, the majority of investors are individual retail investors, which are probably do not have any investment experience, so that their decision can be affected by many factors. And from the behavioral finance, we can see that there might be different things that influence decision, so that people can be influenced by other, they can be overconfident and make too risky decisions, and they can be, emotions can affect their decisions, and people may overestimate the due diligence performed by platform, and I really noticed that by working with clients previously, and some lack of experience can influence the decision which they make, and risk perception. And here is the investment decision attributes that investors make in the end. So that's the company and project attributes, investment amount, frequency of investments, level of risk and return, and timing of investments. So every investor has, it's not necessary that all investors make heterogeneous decisions. That can be so that every investor make their own decision, and we are going to link different investors groups to different decisions so that to create recommender system out of that. And here I would like to go to data collection and start from that data structure. The data will be collected in individual level, company level, context level, and transactional data as well. So in individual level, we are going to use some questionnaires. I will discuss a little bit more in detail on the next slides. Transactional data will be recordings of transactions from the company, and then the attributes of the company in the project will be also collected by some methods which I'm going to discuss later on. And the context is the communication with the staff on the platform and dynamics and attention of other investors to the project. And here I would like to go to measurements. In the individual level, we are going to use questionnaires, and we will receive some data on age, sex and marital status, location, then background of investors like professional and educational background, financial status. We will use questionnaires where they will evaluate their assets and average yearly balance in euros. And previous investment experience, that means experience on the crowdfunding or other investment experience, and it will be specified. And what is particularly interesting to study how people make decisions is to evaluate their thinking modes. So we are going to use cognitive reflection test, which I'm going to discuss further. So thinking modes will show if people think rationally or irrationally, and it will be interesting to see what kind of decision make different people. So this test is quite simple, and it's only 3 questions, and there are wrong answers which are quite fast, and there are correct answers which require some thinking. So right answers are, you probably know this test, and you can exercise also in using Wikipedia. And wrong answers here. So even students of different, not European, American universities, they actually show that they are not fully rational. And then transactions will be measured by, well, it's just a record from the system. It will show how much investor actually invest, and there are some other variables which we will receive from the calculation from these variables. And then project and company attributes. There are so many of them. It's quite easy to evaluate. If it's not many cases we evaluate, but if we evaluate, for example, 1,000 crowdfunding companies in the platform, that can be some problem to assign the level of risk to each company. So some of them can be easily received, like, for example, country and category of crowdfunding, firm age and industry, investment goal. But the quality of the project and the company, it will be done by text mining. So the text mining will allow to create a set of attributes from the project description, and we can see if this set of attributes actually leads to success, for example, or it leads to it attracts certain groups of investors. And then funding dynamics, we can see how much people invest and the speed of investment, and then context attributes are communication on the platform, which will be also recordings from the customer relationship management system on the platform. And attention of the investors, we are going to measure by two proxies. One of them is abnormal Google search index, which I'm going to discuss later on, and social network activity and engagement, which means actually posts of the company and reposts. And Google abnormal search volume index, I would like to make some example from the campaign which we had on the platform. So that the company had a subscription in the, let's say in October, and you can see abnormal activity during this period of time, and we can use data and associate this abnormal activity with investments. If this abnormal activity actually leads to success of the crowdfunding act, or we can evaluate if this abnormal activity actually leads to making irrational decisions by investors, like emotional decisions. And then next step, which we are going to start soon, is building models that will be clustering investors into different groups and predicting some outcome of the crowdfunding campaign using text mining, and predicting investors' behavior using other machine learning techniques. And yes, that's it. And since this work is work in progress, we are very open for different comments and suggestions, and I would like to hear this today. Thank you.